Alright, I know it's been a little while since I last recorded, and, well, we're back. And I said I was going to do miscellaneous stuff. Signs that don't really need a specific block to go on, and they just kind of work. So we're going to start with this column right here, and this is all the detection stuff. So we have a radio, the sign's just radio, that's all you need. And it acts as, well, a radio. You go into /chat radio when you're in a actual battle, and it switches you to the radio chat, and you can switch through channels on the radio to speak to people. Detector. This is the simplest form of detection. What it does is it gives you a line at a certain angle. Like so, this turns into like an entire map, kinda. It has this. It looks like a radar, like what you know is a radar, like what everyone knows is a radar, I guess. And it has a circle. And if there's something like right there, it'll make a line right there. It won't tell you the distance, but it will tell you the heading of whatever other ship you're seeing. So it's pretty easy to find those. This is the easiest to use. It doesn't give any sort of signal to the enemy. It's fairly useful. Radar can be a bit of a mixed bag sometimes. So if I remember this correctly, and I can be wrong, turning on your radar does leave you open to being detected by other radars. And the radars have a maximum distance of 2,000. So the detectors have one of 5,000. The radars have a maximum distance of 2,000, and you can adjust the distance on a radar. The radar will tell you how far your enemy is and what angle they come from. So it's pretty useful. It's good, but just know it does have disadvantage of, well, your enemy finding you. Next, you got sonar. Sonar is used to detect subs, underwater stuff, you know? Sonars only work to a certain depth, so that is something to know. They only work until the lava layer, which if I remember is 50 blocks, somewhere around there. And it will tell you where a sub is. Pretty simple. Now you got the hydrophone. Hydrophones tell you where the sounds of things come from. So this is a very specific thing. You might even hear your own propellers on hydrophone. So you need to watch out. They have certain different color lines that represent different things. I don't remember the exacts of which lines mean which, but they have several different color lines. And they can tell you where torpedoes are based on the sound. They can tell you where a sub is below the layer, if I remember. So they're very useful to have. They're a little more difficult to use than all the other signs up here. And sonars have different modes, but you should always just use Omni on these right now. Okay, next we got a different column. So that was all the detecting stuff. This is all the driving stuff. You don't need any of this to actually work it, but it's useful to have. So helm shows you your speed, shows your heading. So that's pretty useful. You want to know those two things. You need to know how fast you're going and where you're heading, so you can always change based on something you get on, let's say, the detector. Maybe you see an enemy you don't want to go near on the detector, or the radar, and so you turn away. You need to know which angle you got to turn away. So this helm gives you that. Next is the nav. The nav is just a big map. It's just the map of where you are. And it's pretty useful to have because it does show you where you are on that map. So, having a nav, I usually put my navs in my little control cluster. So I have a little cluster I usually make with my helm, or with my wheel, and the nav is one of the things I put there so I can quickly look at it. V crew tells you how many crew you have. Basically, the crew system in this game is pretty simple. I'm gonna come down here to show you. The crew is based on how many bunks you have. These count. When you get 2 of these down, it counts as 2 bunks. And you have, and this is specifically in this orientation. So if it's like that, that's 2 bunks right there. If I go here, there's a topside one because this is a slab. 2 of these counts as 1 bunks, and these are officer bunks, and those are not. These are just normal crew bunks. And they all add up. And if you have no crew, you can't really control the ship. You'll lose your engines, because no one will be there to operate the engines. You'll lose your guns, because no one will be there to reload your guns, other than, I don't know, the people you have on board. Like the actual people. And it can be really annoying if your entire crew dies, so don't let that happen. Try to get a decent amount of crew on every ship you have. Alright. Now it's fuel. That fuel's pretty obvious, so I already showed you that there was fuel blocks. But, yeah. It just shows you how much of your fuel you have. Battery. Alright. I don't think I actually showed you this, and I really should have. I should have showed you with the fuel blocks, but I didn't. So batteries store, I think, somewhere around 10,000 power. And you need power. You need power because you need to be able to turn on your engines. You need to be able to turn on the lights in the ship, or unless you want to be completely blind, I guess. And to do that, you have batteries, and you can put batteries basically anywhere. They don't need a sign or anything. And they store power that you get from your generators. Yeah, I think there's a battery right here. Yeah. And they're pretty easy to put around. There is a note I shall give you guys. Do not make batteries really easy to get exposed to water. They explode. They're very dangerous to have in water. So don't put them in water. Don't put them near water. Kind of hard in the ship, but you know what I'm saying. And that just shows you how much power you have. And next you have over here. Okay, so button. That is a placeholder because there's multiple buttons. Light fuse. And this is something, these are just called gadgets. They're not really useful. I mean, they can be, not what I mean, but they aren't really needed on a ship. They're very good for detail and having these extra little things around. So the button light fuse, so I could put, if I remember, button, give me a second. I think it's FB. No, it's just C. Button C. Light switch. Or light fuse, my bad. Button C, light fuse. That right there will give me a button. So when the ship actually spawns in, it's going to give me this button. And it's going to allow me to turn off all the lights in the ship. Or make them all red. It's useless power. And then you have this button alarm. So we're gonna go travel to a helpful place that I've showed you before. It's called the archive. I didn't have the space on that area to put all the different buttons and all the different functions you can put on. So we're gonna come over here. Here is all the gadgets. Here's all the buttons. You got button A, button B, button D, button J, button O, button S, button ST, and button C. If I remember, these are actually just based on the first letter that they have. So yeah, button B, Birchwood, button A, Acacia, D, Dark oak. So yeah, it's just based off the first letter of whatever button it is. And then you put a function. So like I said, you have the light fuse, and you have all these different guys. So these are all different like whistles and whoops and stuff. That one you sound when a battle starts. Alarm fire is pretty obvious. These are, you can take your time to read this. They're not super, you don't need these, again, but they're really nice to have for detail purposes. So if I were you, I'd put these on your ship. Although, you don't need them. Maybe, well, you could probably use the light one if you're running low on fuel. Or, well, not fuel, but power. If your generator's all screwed up or something. And that's really all the auxiliary stuff that I needed to show you guys. So, I might stream this later, either later today. Well, it might not be later when this video comes out, but later. Today, or tomorrow. And it's probably just going to be me working on a ship I've already built. Well, the whole of, not the entire ship, but working on a ship that's already in progress. And I don't know if I'm going to do the destroyer or the cruiser or both. So, after that, at some point, I'm going to start doing the how to build series. And, oh, this is just how everything works and how to set them up. The how to build is going to be a lot more detail on looking nice and function. So I'm going to, for example, the first one's going to be how to like do ship plans, and that's all going to be done in paint.net, and I guess that's probably going to be pretty boring. But it's pretty good, and I will credit that, the technique I use at least, to someone that has done it. I think right now they're called Big Baron. They used to be called something else. But I guess that's the channel stuff for today. Expect to stream either today or tomorrow, and expect the beginning of how to build these ships in detail sometime around, let's say next week. Well, not next week, this week. Some late time this week. And if you're going to wonder why I took a break, like a massive gap in the middle of it, it's because, well, I'd get on sometimes. I mean, I was really I didn't feel it, you know? It's not great to do this if you don't feel it. And a lot of times I forget things I want to do, and that is, I guess, a problem. But yeah, get the screenshot real quick for the front. You'll either see me later today, or you'll see me tomorrow, and then you'll see me, well, maybe twice tomorrow. It depends on when I decide to actually get the plans to the ship I'm going to do. The ship I'm going to do for the tutorial, by the way, is a French light cruiser, so that might be a little fun. It's a little out of my comfort zone. I don't usually build French ships, ever. I don't think I've ever built one. So, yeah, that'll be fun. I guess I'll see you guys, well, as I said earlier, today or tomorrow.